Magavanan Melanin. Welcome once again to another Middle Earth Rangers Superpowers video. I've been reminded that Professor J.R.R. Tolkien, when he created the world of Middle-earth for his novels The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings trilogy, intended magic in Middle-earth to be very rare and very powerful. I have a couple of things to say about that. First, of course, I do agree with that, and that he needed story elements that propelled the story forward, and they need to be, powerful and dramatic. These are plot devices. The ring is a MacGuffin. It could have been anything, but it was something that everyone needed to have, and it needed to be important. Secondly, what I'm presenting here is not magic. Now, the concept of somebody entering some sort of light trance and muttering some apparent incantations and affecting his immediate environment for the better, this might sound like magic to some people. Indeed, affirmations are in some circles reviled. Scientists, skeptics want to disprove it, although there's no doubt that it works. It's been used. It is used in many circles. If that was used if as and when it was used in Middle Earth by anybody there, it wouldn't have been important enough to enter into the stories. But I find it useful, and it is, and we'll examine how Aragorn might have used it. So when we talk about superpowers, we're not talking about something that Superman or Spider-Man has. We're not developing skills for levitation or psychokinesis or X-ray vision or any of that. These are real-world skills. They just seem like magic to many, or they just seem like superpowers. A fun and simple introduction to the concept of affirmations is in the American television comedy show Saturday Night Live. We see Al Franken's character Stuart Smalley, whose tagline is, "I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me." It's played mostly for laughs. However, at no point is the ability of affirmations to work ever lampooned. It's silly as hell. It's goofy, but Stuart Smalley is never portrayed as a powerless individual. Al Franken apparently was taking some Al-Anon, or going to Al-Anon meetings, and where he encountered affirmations, the concept of affirmations. And apparently he wanted to introduce this to the opening regular public through his comedy sketch. So if you can remember what that was about, you have a concept of what affirmations are like and what they do. Basically, affirmations are affecting your subconscious. All of us have some internal dialogue going on in our heads right now. Or a monologue, actually, since that's only one voice for the most part. Anyway, we always have this little internal voice going on in our head where we're discussing things, explaining things to ourselves, and so on. By and large, these are your opinions rather than facts, since in order to have any opinion at all, you've got to ignore something. And this internal dialogue often is out of control of the individual. And affirmations are the easiest means of taking control of those thoughts and steering them in a constructive direction, since your thoughts influence your actions, your prejudices, your expectations, all the things that you print out in the world. And if you can change that, you can begin to change your luck. The rules for affirmations are the same as the rules that a hypnotist will use for speaking with your subconscious mind. The subconscious mind has trouble with a couple of ordinary phrases that we take for granted. And once you know how to work with those, you'll have a chance to create your own affirmations. At no point am I telling you what to think. You have to define that for yourself. But the subconscious mind does not understand a negative. It will create negative circumstances for you or negative opportunities. But if you create a affirmation that has a negative in it, like, oh, I don't like sharks. I hate swimming with sharks in the deep water at midnight. And the subconscious will not hear that not. They'll just hear sharks, deep water, midnight. And if you're lucky, it won't create a circumstance for you. But it's not something you want to tinker with. Create a positive that is restating an alternative. People have trouble with quitting smoking because they'll say, subconscious mind, I don't like cigarettes, I hate smoking, I hate this. And all the subconscious mind hears is smoking and cigarettes. And in order to stop smoking, people generally want to adopt the mind, the internal dialogue of a non-smoker. Now, what's a non-smoker think? Smoking is disgusting. I have better things to do with my time and money, and so on. That's a more constructive avenue to go. For the second one is that the subconscious mind thinks only in the present tense. If you say, I will become a millionaire, one of these days, your subconscious mind will say, okay, we'll pencil that into your, let's see, the future's over here, right? I learned that from the last video. Your subconscious mind will say, okay, sometime in your future, you'll be a millionaire. And it would continue doing that until you start saying, right now, I'm rich. And I'm imagining that feeling and then basking in it. And it's hard to believe that it actually creates a result, but it does. It actually creates a feeling inside yourself. And that's where things start. So it's hard to believe that these things actually exist. With Aragorn, for instance, when facing down a horde of hundreds of orcs with nothing but a sharp sword, would he stop and say, gosh, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me? Or would he just stride forward? It's said that, well, we can think of Aragorn as being an athlete, a star quarterback, for instance. Think of it that way. And it's said that good athletes don't use sports psychology, but great athletes do. And we can see Aragorn as a great athlete. Now, some great athletes have a positive mindset from the get-go. They always are confident. They always are ready to succeed and expecting to succeed, and so on, until they choke or have some mishap, and then they've got to enlist the help of a sports psychologist. If you watch any great game, I like to watch the Olympic Games, the Summer Olympics. You watch one of the gold medal level athletes there preparing, and many times they've got headphones on. They're running their tape through their head. They've got a hood over their head. Sometimes you can see their lips moving, saying something to themselves. They don't reveal what they're doing, what they're talking about, but they're creating a mental image of them nailing their event. And we can think that might be true of any, might be part of Aragorn's or any Middle-earth Ranger's training. As part of his training is to learn how to think positive, learn how to visualize success before striding out onto the field. So perhaps, I don't know, was Aragorn visualizing a pile of dead orcs before he pulled out his sword? Certainly, that would work. Of course, we look deeply into Aragorn's story when he was asked to stop being a ranger and start being a king. Then he had a definite a need to change his thinking, right? And he started to program. Well, we don't see that in the film or in the stories, but anybody in that situation, yourself, when you stop being a ranger and start being a king, when you are ready to seize your castle and marry your queen or whatever, you've got to mentally prepare yourself for it. And when you do, then it becomes easy. Then it becomes inevitable. So let's look at a couple of drills here. Suppose you're taking a martial arts class. Many of us do. Let's say you drive there, you park in the parking lot of the dojo, you've got a couple of minutes free to yourself. You roll up the windows and you're going, I don't know, I like this art, I enjoy studying it, I'm getting good at it, I'm getting better, I learn from my mistakes, I like my sensei, my fellow students like me, everything fits together, you know. And if there's anything that sticks or doesn't make sense or seems phony there, you'll notice that right away, and you can start to correct that before you step onto the mat. And this can happen during the practice, after the practice. You may make a mistake that you learn from. Many people will go back home, go back to bed, and they're thinking over that one mistake, and they're playing that over in their mind. Now, every time you imagine an action, it becomes set in your I want to say programming. You're actually programming your computer, right? When you have a mistake and you run that over and over in your mind, that becomes ingrained, and you have a bad chance of recreating that accident again, recreating that mistake again. Instead, learn what the correct form for that skill, or whatever it was, and run that over in your mind. Say you did something wrong, sensei says do it this way instead, and you do it that way over and over in your mind. So the next time it comes up, boom, you've got it. It's already there. Speaking of retiring for the evening, one wise woman told me before she goes off to sleep, the last few minutes, she does two things. She finds something to forgive, just one thing, and then she finds one thing to feel thankful for. Now, gratitude is like you built a house and you've got to connect the water or some other facilities. And in order to do that, you've got to consider what the source is. You've got to recognize the source. Whether for water you're connecting to the city pipes or drilling a well or some sort of catchment situation, or merely running down to the creek for a bucket of water. You still have to consider the source. Otherwise, there's no water in the house. The same thing goes with gratitude. It's not a religious thing necessarily, but considering the source makes things run easier. So that sums up our little introduction to the world of affirmations. I hope this is something that has interested you, entertained you. Perhaps you will find a way to use these in your life. If you like this video at all, please give me a thumbs up. That really helps me and helps the channel as well. If you have someone you know who might benefit from seeing this, please feel free to share. And it might help them, it will help me, and may even help you. Anyway, stay tuned for more. I've got several more superpowers way beyond anything you've expected. And please stay tuned. And once again, thank you for watching. I just want to share with you that I've been recording these videos in this series in a complex of ruined temples here in northern Thailand. I'll post more information in the description below.